Yeah, I know it. I started to, but I'm, it's too hard for me to watch it.
The same thing.
No, I like, the one I really like. I mean, I like them all. Really, really. You're going to have to put all the two together at the same time. Yeah, I heard that's true. I heard it mentioned. They were saying, these dumb falls into the thing. They all laughed at that.
15, I was up in planning. Jonah called me and she heard it as I was coming to work. I guess this was Elizabeth, Jim, you asked you about going right by it.
I didn't tell you he was over here before.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't mention it now. Yeah.
Just for shipping people. I mean, no, you told me. You came in. I know, I never would have found Stu there. Yeah, yeah.
It's gray, but it's there. But we don't mind staying here.
I just like to have it in the auto.
All these pictures
would just like to start this next stage with a toast. If you'd all join me in a toast to Doug and Nancy Walcott. And may they have a long, healthy, successful, happy, enriching, fulfilling retirement. You've earned it, Doug and Nancy, to you.
Here, here.
Thank you.
Very
Good one. Well,
I'll even drink to that. What was that, Caldo? Yeah, I can't threaten Caldo anymore. Oh no, 4:30 was 13 minutes ago.
Your shift's over. Well, for those of you who haven't met the entire family, we'd like to introduce the family. Of course, I don't have to introduce you to Doug, but I would like to introduce you to Nancy, his wife, his gracious wife. And where is Jean Marie? There's Jean Marie and Amy.
Where's Amy?
Amy, raise your
I
hand.
can't see her.
There she is. Why don't you come on up forward so everybody can see you?
Oh,
Nancy.
half the family.
Half the family, yes.
Well, that's the family. Those are
Susie and Jimmy could not be here. No,
come on, come on.
guess which one's expecting?
John. Okay, all right. We had a poem sent in by an infamous Italian philosopher and poet, and I'd like to read this to Doug. There is a man who lives in Ross, who loves to hunt and fish at any cost. His wife Nancy, who epitomizes elegance and grace, helped him compete successfully in the corporate race. In '84, he achieved a lofty position through decisiveness and hard-driving ambition. This man ran shipping for a large integrated oil and raised industry standards through long hours of toil. He drove his employees to be the best, and his company's environmental and safety record will attest. This man had a motto that kept us in line. Learn to walk and chew gum at the same time, or fall way behind. Who achieved all these things before he retired? Doug Walcott, of course, a man much respected and admired. We have a gift for you, Doug. This is a stick of executive chew. It's made by Get the Job Done Gum Company. Enjoy the great walking and chewing experience.
and it's NutraSweet.
NutraSweet. We're going to give you a form to fill out. We want to know whether you're satisfied with this product, because if it's successful, we're going to give it to the entire management team later on.
And then are you going to have an employee survey?
We have another presentation by Jeannie Medugno.
Well, Doug, this is not for you. It is my pleasure and honor, and I'd like to have everybody in shipping join me in wishing Nancy all the best for all of her years of devotion to shipping. And just to share with you a little bit, first time I met and worked with the Walcott family was 1976. And at that time, Nancy was teaching. She later gave it up, I think, for shipping. Jean Marie was in college. And Amy came in and played with my typewriter on summer vacation. So that gives you a little bit of history on how far back I go with them, and I think a lot of people do too. And it's been a delight to know you and get to know you and share with your family. And we wish you all the best. We'd like to present these roses to you.
Thank you very much.
We have Jeff and Mark. Can you step up here? Mr. Carmowitz will help you.
I'm not one on making speeches, so I'll kind of make this real brief. For a person to change is kind of hard, but for an entire company to change, it's another thing totally different. With your leadership, Doug, you changed the total company for the good. You made everyone realize that it doesn't matter what department you work for or what classification you are, that you had an input in how this company ran, and that input mattered. Doug, you helped me to realize that good quality is not only found in good processes, but in people too. And me and Mark would like to thank you for that, especially. Thank you. And we'd like to present 2 pictures. First, dear wife.
Doug's gonna have to get realigned, I think.
This one's for you.
Well, we've got to open it. Go ahead and open it, Nancy. Hope you have a large car tonight. What trip is that, Nancy?
Chevron Atlantic. No, that's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mr. Wilcox.
I don't have to save the paper, do I, Nancy?
If you invest wisely, you don't have to, but if you, they gotta throw your best picture.
Can someone help fold this up for me? And there we are with the Chevron Employee Pride. Those are great.
Well, we got a cast of characters here, and we'll start with the first character. Tom? Careful!
We were holding all the ships offshore for the last couple of days, and at 4:30 they started coming in.
Not yet, Doug. It was shortly after, maybe not so shortly after the announcement of Doug's retirement, that at a management committee meeting, when Doug was called out, or at the end of it, a few of us got together and said, damn, we better figure out something, some sort of function for Doug. And everybody started looking out the windows, and somehow Don got caught with being the organizer. But I wanted to pass along at this point some very, very focused appreciation and acknowledgments for the fact that Doug, I think the quality spirit that you've instilled here, there was absolutely no commissioning of a team. One just happened when it was recognized that you were going to retire and that we wanted to have some function for you. A group of people literally just formed, and this is what resulted. And John Arizona, Greg Penkin, John Carmelich, Cynthia Green, Gina Duno, and
Ripple Secretary.
Thank you.
Rebecca.
Well, you're in trouble next week.
I would have gotten there. I was just standing out there, and Doug, I can say I've never seen a group of people have so much fun, sending you off.
Tom, before you say any more, Sullivan had about the same thing to say.
This opportunity just absolutely instilled the creative juices and the work ethic just enhanced beautifully, and I think we've just got a wonderful team here, and I'd like to have just a round of applause for those people that have put this together. And straight up,
Don't tilt.
Doug, this is a gift from the shipping company. It's an archive off of one of the vessels that I think has significance to you, but in sort of a bittersweet memory. Please.
This isn't Nancy now.
We've got a few wall hangings here for Doug and Nancy and big pictures. This is a small one. It's a timepiece, and it comes from the Chevron Hawaii, and it's so labeled. It is literally the last piece from the Chevron Hawaii. When I inherited my job, in my top credenza drawer there was this clock, and it had on a little yellow sticky. They had them back then, saying, "Hold for DCW." And that's exactly what I did. I never asked anybody whether he wanted it. I don't know if you knew it was around.
No,
But there it was.
Oh, that's very nice.
And, well, no, you take that. And maybe it'll find room in your Hawaii residence. As a
There we
program.
are. Isn't that nice cloth?
Anyway, inscribed, President, 1984, 1994. Now, I'm not going to make any.
I'll never see 10 to 6 in the morning on it, though.
And you'll appreciate that this is not a striking clock, and I don't know what that reflects on the crew of the Chevron Hawaii, but you don't have to listen to 4 or 8 bells on the cycle.
Do you have instructions for Nancy to wind it up?
No. And I'm not going to make any cute cliches about all the time you're going to have watching the idle hours go by on the top of the wall, but anyway, we wanted to send a piece of the fleet back with you and give you those good memories.
Thanks a lot, Tom.
Good.
Yeah, that's terrific. I'm sure glad you read that stick on my left one.
The band for the watch will be mailed airmail later. Next presentation will be by Carolyn Hubble.
Hello, Doug and Nancy. There's a quote that I'd like to share with you from one of these little inspirational books, which they're now selling in airports as well as bookstores. But it goes, "To be successful, one must have a vision to strive for and someone who believes in him or her, as the case may be." But last week at our QI lunchtime session, Kong Van Gogh asked a question as we were trying to go through some important memories of Doug's career. And that question was relative to behind every successful man is a great woman. And Doug's response to this was in complete support and in sharing with us some of your early experiences, Nancy, in terms of the 10 or so moves in 16 years in the early days of Doug's career, and the raising of 4 small children in the area, the foreign area that can be quite challenging at times. And then to the current day, over the last few years, when you attended numerous business and industry meetings and served as a Chevron Shipping host and provided lots of different opportunities for the Chevron Shipping employees as well to participate in Christmas parties, picnics, and so forth. But one thing he mentioned, which I think is a tribute to you, is that you were never a whiner. So I think I speak for all Chevron Shipping employees when I thank you for all the contributions you've made to us for the success of our company. And also would like to recognize your generosity by providing me with a memento of this occasion.
John, you gonna help me? Oh, you could. Those are awfully kind words. And there's a story that goes with this, after you see what it is. Perhaps you'll remember the story, if not, I'll help you. I know he's going, Carol. Getting to that stage in life.
Any voice back in the room?
I think you got it. Oh, yes. Where did that ever get found? Sure.
Actually,
It's a beautiful gold anchor.
the story behind this and the reason that I brought to mind the generosity is that this was a gift for the Chevron Atlantic wives and dignitaries' wives. And Nancy gave away all of them and didn't save one for herself. And so this is
I'm surprised I didn't think any more existed.
We had a specially made, it's a gift from the management team of Chevron Shipping.
John has connections in Sicily, you know. They can do anything. Wrong connection.
We have a flash wire that just came in from somebody that's connected with a family.
Done.
Dearest Dad, we send you our congratulations all the way from Puerto Rico. Because of your many days of toil, your children received the treatment royal. Many days of work, this is your last. Unfurl your sails, climb up your mast. From the crow's nest you will see adventures vast. Seize them eagerly. Love, Susie. Susie is Doug's daughter who's basking in the Puerto Rican sunlight. Well, we're going to get to the tough stuff here. Doug, you're in control of everything, but you've got to get a handle on people who take pictures of you. You've got to get better control of the pictures.
Well, Diana Walsh and I are going to have a very serious conflict. I'm like Tiger without teeth now, you know.
But I understood, we worked on it, and most of these came out of local newspapers. Mr. Leweiler? Hopefully this roast won't get
No,
overdone.
this is not a roast, not at all. I frankly don't like coming up here and talking behind people like Jeff and Mark. You're not gonna look good doing that, I don't care who you are. That's bad organization, Tom.
Known as a setup.
I've been here in shipping for 9 of the 10 years that Doug's been president, and I think most of you know, those of you that know me know I've had a really fantastic time here with him, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. But he disappointed me today. I couldn't believe that he wouldn't go along with a good plan. Good plan. We've got a lot of good plans. So I wanted him, Tom Moore is having his first management committee meeting tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And I didn't think this was a real burden on Doug. I suggested that he come into that meeting, and as we start the meeting, Doug says to Tom and the rest of us, "You're fired, Doug. April Fool's Day." I think that's one of the better ideas I ever had. And he wouldn't do it. I just couldn't believe you wouldn't. Most of you probably won't see a lot of Doug, you know, after today or tomorrow or whatever, but, well, it's just the nature of things. You won't be around here every day. And I've cut you off good because I probably will see a lot of him, and I know I will, and I'm really pleased about that, and Nancy too, and all the kids, because we will hopefully continue to do things we've been doing for a number of years, fishing and hunting, and maybe we'll even play tennis again someday. He's not had time to do this stuff with me very much lately, but I look forward to that. I really do.
I don't have to let him win now.
Yeah. Never again. Anyway, again, thank you for having me here for 9 years. It's been great.
Thank you, Jack. It's been great.
Where is Mr. Ely? There he is.
It's getting tougher and tougher to follow the acts that have already been up here. John said, invited us all to think about what we might talk about here. It wasn't very hard for me to come to the topic. It even gets a little bit difficult even talking about it. It has to do with diversity. Doug made a very strong pitch at a management committee meeting probably 2 years ago. It was very eloquent. It was something that I wish that we had captured on tape. We talk about a traditional family relationship today. I think that in the future, we will talk about a different type of relationship. Doug has been a very strong supporter of having different people's opinions, different people considered for different jobs. This has been an important issue for me, and I am very pleased to have worked with Doug and to have known that we've had his support during the past 3 years that I've worked with him. Thank you very much.
Well, Mr. Gavin sold an awful lot of property, so. Be my guest.
We had a pretty good start at selling a few ships here this last year too, so we keep carrying it on. As most of you know, I've only been with Chevrolet Shipping for a year and a half, so I haven't had the opportunity to get to know Doug and his family as well as many of you. But I certainly have some strong feelings and impressions over the year and a half that I have been here of what's happened over the last 10. Doug, I was going to start off with something humorous, but then I remembered some advice that you passed on to the management team here after being at a recent MTA meeting where one of our people, John Kimball, tried his hand at some humor. And the report we got was that the humor didn't go quite the way John expected it. And your advice was that engineers should never attempt humor. And maybe that's why we in engineering so much have appreciated your leadership. Because you are one of us, started that way, to understand maybe the way we think and look at things. One of the things very, very important to an engineering group is to have someone who has consistency, and we have strategy and a vision that stays with us. It's very difficult when you're planning long-term projects and long-term maintenance of a fleet if you have plans and strategy that's changing month to month or year to year. It's very important to to us in engineering that we have a steady course and that we stay that course for a longer period of time so that we really can do our work properly. It's very difficult for us to react to changes when we're looking at projects that take years to develop and years to execute. So I think on behalf of all of engineering, we want to thank you for that vision and strategy and that consistency. I think the vision that you've had that allowed us to build our lightering ships, even the Renfrew, at a time when maybe that wasn't such an obvious decision at that time, but has turned out to be an excellent one. And then carrying on into the replacement of our LR2 fleet at a time when the rest of the industry was sitting on the sidelines. And we want to thank you for that, because in engineering we think we've made the right decisions, and that has brought us forward as a company to a leadership position in our industry. And that position and that consistency and strategy, combined with your credibility and insistence that we have a well-designed, well-maintained fleet, credibility with our corporate management, with our board of directors, has allowed us to do things in Chevron Shipping Company that I'm sure makes us the envy of the industry, and I know you as an individual leader, president of the company, as an envy to your peers and our competitors, such as Mobil and Texaco and Shell and others. They would love to have the relationship we have and the understanding we have with our board that allows us to go ahead with that. So we want to thank you for all that great leadership and consistency that you've had. It's really made our jobs a lot easier in the engineering department. I'd like to just leave with a note that I got in on an email just the other day from one of the people who worked with you in the past, Larry Justice, who's currently the General Manager of Operations in Angola. I'll just read a couple sentences out of the note. He says, "Bill, just a note to say that some of the managers here and myself just got back from lunch and a tour on the employee Pride. As you know, she is on her maiden voyage to pick up cargo in Cabinda, at Cabinda. It was a real treat, and Captain Conley showed us great hospitality." And then there's a couple notes to me there, and then he says at the end, he says, "Also, I understand Doug is retiring. Please wish him well for me." And I'd like to say that. We wish you well from the engineering department. Thank you for your
Thank you.
Now comes the hard part. Your HR manager has got a PMP for you.
He'll be the first one I've got.
I think you're gonna continue to go with that one, Doug. But I can't.
I did yours today, by the
Yeah,
way.
thank you.
My final act was
Thank
Al
you.
Stroziak's PMP.
We got it in the file. We got it in the file. Yeah, I can really,
I'm sorry about it, Al.
Hey, I can really relate to Jack. He's talking about positioning, and here I am coming up here with a Lucky's shopping bag. And my Carolyn came waltzing up from Gumps.
Some people have flash drives.
Okay, well, let me see if we can execute this just right. But in all seriousness, Doug, I'd like to thank you on behalf of the Human Resource Division for all of the help, all of the support that you've given. But I think more importantly, for the support that you've given to human resources on a small h, small r, namely our people on the ships, our people on the shore. I think the area that comes to my mind most sincerely is the area of leadership and communication that you've shown us. I think the commitment that you had to those Wednesday meetings, the brown bag lunches that we started, that you made yourself available for, you were candid. You helped all of us understand what's the business. You went to the QI Thursday dinners, let us know where it stood, told us the good news, the bad news. You made sure we heard from the management committee, corporate, on down to our management committee. Prodded us, sometimes aceribically, with a little bit of edge to it, that we needed to get that communication down to our people, and I think that the results in Chevron Shipping have shown that. I think that our people know our issues, our problems, and our challenges, I think, better than other OPCO employees, and I think it's a result of that leadership that you've shown. And I think the worldwide survey showed that as well.
know, when I gave this little pitch to our group, you know, being a consensus manager that I am, I said, guys, what do you know? I said, men and women, what do you think of this? Wow. Not quite the way we remember. I said, men and women, what do you think about this? And they said, is that all? I mean, like, you know, where's the parting shot? I mean, where's the humorous send-off? Where's the humorous send-off? So, you know, in good QI fashion, I empowered, you know, as you told us in those Wednesday meetings, empower people, give them the, and I did. And, you know, they kind of did the same, the brainstorm and the affinity diagrams, and, you know, some of the things that they went through were, you know, 21st century information highway, information systems, mainframe computer.
Tom, you've got a problem.
Human resources, and then finally it came. Epic. Epic. Understanding people in Chevron. The group put together a professional services agreement, which we'd now like to present to you. A professional services agreement signed by Ron Kiskis, and Ron was very, very pleased to sign this. I'd like to just quote a few highlights from this project that you're being invited to work on. Serve as a project leader for the modernization of our human resource computer fleet. Encompass, but not limited to, retirement of our ULPCs, our extra large personal computers, and our very large personal computers, our VLPCs. And concurrently replace them with new environmentally sensitive double-wall PCs. And these have been approved by DOT, you know, the Department of Techno Nerds. So that there's no gamma leaks there in the office. You know, we think that's pretty important. But I think that one of the other highlights is that we worked out a rate, $100 a day. For a 10-hour day. You've always believed in you know, putting in a full day. Yeah. You know, if you flip to the second page, you'll know the tax rates.
It's consistent with the salary program.
Yeah, you know, and you'll notice that when we get through with the taxes, it's really in line with the salary program. 33% federal, 6.5% state. Dip, slip, drip, flip, 8 and a quarter. Bill and Hillary's medical tax, 14.9. Pete's California earthquake tax, 11.6. Whitewater profit sharing, 24.6. Doug, you know, what more can we say other than that we really look forward to the work that you're going to be able to do. We're going to give you an Epic ID right now. If you would, I mean, this is first class.
For the camera this way.
We got one more piece, and you know, Doug is kind of a wordsmith, and I've always been impressed with his grasp of words and all. So you know, I asked our team to put together an epic dump. And all that means is you know, all of your names.
Let's not get followed.
So we've got everybody's name on this thing, Doug. When you get into this computer thing, you'll be able to understand. But the thing that really got us going was, you know, Doug's penchant for words. And somebody said, "Is this an oxymoron? You know, an epic dump?" And then what people said, no, it's not an oxymoron. It's the opposite of an oxymoron. So we then went looking for, well, it's a redundancy to say epic dump. And just want to wish you well, Nancy and Doug, happy hacking.
It's really nice to have on a disc the epic dump.
There's always somebody that runs you over. Well, I have my good friend, Mr. Suntan himself, John Carmelich.
George Hamilton.
George Allen. George Allen.
Well, I know a good many of you have come to the lunchtime QI meetings, and we saw, or what we thought we saw, was a different side of Doug. He had a sense of humor, and he would joke with us, and he would laugh with us, and I think what all of you didn't realize that Doug, really, that is Doug. I didn't experience it and realize it until actually we got into some of our contract signings, okay? And when just across the other side of the hall here at the chairman's, Mr. Durs right now, present chairman, his private dining room, we have had many contract signings over there for the new buildings. And we've had many distinguished guests from IHI, MHI, Ishi Bross over there. And it was a very solemn, not solemn, well, not totally solemn, but kind of a solemn ceremony in as much as the atmosphere is very, very presentable, and you have a lot of dignitaries coming from those type of companies here that are they're very high in their management to come and sign the contracts for new building. Well, I'm sure a lot of you thought that Doug's side of having this sense of humor was strictly the QI Wednesdays on lunch, but I didn't realize that this is really Doug. Doug is the same way he is. You see him in the hallways, you see him in probably the board meetings that he attends at 225. And until I realized that one day when we had a contract signing up there, get up there, and one of my responsibility was to make sure that we got all the seating arrangements around the table for each and every representative from all those companies when we signed the contracts. And these are the final contracts. And as they sat down around the table, it was also my responsibility to make sure that we had pins in place for each of those that we're supposed to sign. And generally speaking, there was at least 1 to 2 representatives from each company. They sat on the opposite side of the table, and Doug was on the other side of the table. And next to him was either Lloyd Elkins, Mr. Bonnet, or Mr. Sullivan. And at present, Doug would be signing on behalf of Chevron Corporation and Chevron Shipping. Well, at one specific occasion, I had placed all the pens along the side of each of those signees that were supposed to sign, and we started placing the documents in front of them, and it got around to the point where each of them signed, and then the papers were duly slipped across the table to Doug, and abruptly, in that complete silence and somber, very type of setting, Doug all of a sudden says, "I can't sign these documents. I've got a right-handed pen." So quickly, we moved the right-handed pen to the left hand, which I had immediately forgotten about, that we had a president in place who was left-handed. So, Doug, it gives me great pleasure in what inventory I had left of pens as a backup to give you a very momentous pen, which is the only left-handed pen I had left in inventory. In as much as after today, you will no longer, and we will no longer, need a left-handed pen to sign contracts for new building.
I can use this. Al, I forgot to sign your MIP.
Purposely left the ink out.
And I wonder if I could get Bob Pozzoli, if he's still here, maybe to give me Al's feedback.
I don't have a computer or email, so who the hell's retirement is it?
You have your citizenship yet?
Yep, I'm allowed to speak now. Now, I would like to take my 2 minutes to tell you about one time that I saw Doug go over the edge. And I mean really over the edge. This long before QI and long before the cool, calm, collected, debonair, suave individual you see really lost his cool. Totally over the edge. He stood there shaking. beads of sweat coming out of him. His eyes were rolling. He was red in the face. Wild look on his face. I thought, holy shit, what's going on? Now, what do you think I'm talking about? Because I'm talking about the ride at Great America Theme Park. No, just one thing I do remember is when Doug and myself and my daughter went over the edge. And it's one of the times I saw Doug defy gravity.
Really, Caldo had an ulterior motive in this whole thing. He thought he was figuring out Doug's about 60. He can make a job over here.
Then I realized 4 levels or something was coming.
Oh, come on, Doug, let's go over again.
Anyway, actually, seriously, just to finish, there are about 2,000 people that work for this shipping company that aren't here right now, who would probably like to be. And on behalf of them and myself, I would like to wish you a long and happy retirement. And I know that those 2,000 people are very appreciative of your concern for their and their families' welfare. And it has shown over the years that we work together, and I'm sure they would like to be here to say that as well. But on behalf of them, all the best, folks.
Thank you, Dave.
I'm gonna write you a poem for the occasion, and I was gonna say, forget it, Khan. Well, don't say that, I'm a poet. So leave that, poetic thing to me. So I run out and get you, the thing I couldn't have time to drop it. Seriously, Doug, during the last 10 years you took over, since 1984, I honestly see that, you strengthen the company, a good deal, and make it, now manageable. You took over the home, and I thought you were very glad about it. And on behalf of, the employees, we could just say, God bless you, and may, all the blessings and happiness for you every single day of your retirement. And I think, the strengthening of the Shaw Shipping is one of your legacy and success, and Nancy, share with you the legacy and success. I think it is, we are very happy to work for you.
Thank you, Con. Go for it. We're gonna hang that right up in the old, right in the living room.
Well, I'd like to say that Doug was way ahead of his time and his peers in QI. And I think particularly in the concept of alignment. And to give you an illustration of this, I'd like to relate an incident that happened in the early 80s when he was Vice President of Operations. And it happened either around 1981 or 1982 when I was in traffic and chartering. And I went downstairs to talk to Mel Chambers, one of our all-time great operation planners. Well, Mel, who was superintendent of planning on the international fleet. And I went down to talk about backhauls off the West Coast. And we were talking in the copy room, and Doug happened by. And Mel and I were talking, and Doug came in and listened for a couple of minutes. He heard what I had to say, and then he said something, and I picked up basically where I left off. And Doug says, "You don't hear me, Bob?" I said, "I hear you, Doug." And he said a few more things, and I kept on going. He says, "You don't hear me, Bob?" I says, "I hear you, Doug." And I don't know, this probably went on for a while, and finally the three of us went our separate ways. And later that morning, I went down to the cafeteria for lunch with Mel. And unfortunately, so did Doug. And again, my timing was off because when I got up from my table, Doug got up from his. And he picked up the conversation where he had left it off about 2 hours earlier. All the way out to the elevator, in the elevator, down to the lobby for a couple of minutes, across the street to Sutter and Market and Sampson. A couple of minutes more, finally, without a word, he rolls his eyes at me, turns on his heel, and disappears up Sutter Street. And you know, for years after, I always wondered why I never made Group 1.
John would like to say that he hadn't set anything up, but he planted some seeds, so you're involved. I'd like to continue and extend some best wishes from some of the other M&R members who can't be here tonight. We have folks down in Pascagoula, of course, and people out in Singapore, and a group of retirees who want to be remembered to you, names like Hicks and Hagman and Percoco and a few others. And I think you know them all. They've been around and carried the place for a long, long time. I'd like to also clarify a question of something that came up from the Coast Guard, and they were interested that you were retiring. They asked me if there was any truth to the story that it had been recorded in one of the logs that there was a ship, a sailing boat out in the bay that was in trouble, and they had called for help. And when they asked them what their position was, the response came back, "I'm president of Chevron Shipping Company." No truth to that, is there, Doug? I guess, in continuing a little bit on the things that Bill was talking about, from an M&R point of view and just looking at what we're doing, I look back over my time with the company and your leadership. And when I took over from Tom Moore in 1982, we were a group of 57 people in M&R, and there was a lot. And there's been a balancing that I think you've brought into our business to say, hey, we've got to run lean and mean. And so over the years, we've reduced that to the point where we're now running with 35 people with a little smaller fleet, but we're doing a lot more productivity-wise. And yet, when I compare with our peers of what others have, I think while we have pared down to what's lean and mean, we still have, I think, the strongest M&R group amongst the industry. And I think that's the kind of balancing that you brought to the management of this company. Similarly, I think another incident that followed that shows the same thing was the inheritance of the Gulf ships when we merged. We tried to make them run under the management company, and it became obvious that we couldn't do that. And I remember coming to your office and saying, hey, if we're going to raise them to our standards, we're going to have to spend a bunch of money. And remember, the message was again then, spend what you have to, let's not go overboard, but let's get the standard that we've all wanted and expected in our fleet. And so it's again been a balancing act of saying, we have some things that we must adhere to, let's do it smartly. And I think that's the way this company's been run under your leadership. Congratulations, best wishes on a happy retirement.
Thank you.
It's an honor to be invited to say a few words. I tried to come up with some jokes for the occasion, but as you are well aware, we've heard enough jokes about presidents and their wives, so I thought that was a bit dangerous ground. However, because Doug has been an active member and perhaps one of the main sponsors, chairman, I understand, of the MRA or the MSRC, we felt that you have a little bit of time on your hands in your retirement, and I'd like to solicit your support and maybe try and spend a bit of time in Washington and also in Arkansas. And hopefully we can clean up this whitewater mess. I also want to deny another rumor that I heard Bob Weekend this morning on CBS News saying that the fall in the stock market was due to Doug's retirement. There's no truth in that at all.
Probably right. Makes sense, right?
And probably if you do get to Washington at all, maybe you can stop in and help these guys, Bill and Hillary, because they're in a mess now, but they're really going to be in deep water if they continue like that. I guess you heard last week that he was supposed to be down here and wanted to visit Marine World, and he refused unless he could visit Navy World and Army World. He didn't want to leave any service. Anyway, I thought the best thing I could do was to convey my memories of Doug Walcott since I joined Chevron Shipping, coming in having worked for a commercial company. And I wrote a poem, a short tribute to Doug Walcott. It is a memorable day for us all to be, reminiscing with Doug over milestones that may trigger memories concerning a career which accomplished the dreams of many, a colleague or incumbent, eminently successful, deserving of high grades, from my perspective, over 1.5 decades. At that time, Vice President and General Manager of Operations, reporting to Bill Banks without trepidation. Jordan and Schill and Ferguson were Doug's direct reports, Caldo, Course, and Arizona, to add a little sport. Such challenges provided for numerous distractions. Merging of the operating fleets was already in action. To accelerate revision of the well-established culture required certain changes within the management structure. When Bill Banks retired, another new face, Jim Siller, stepped in to keep us in place, but quickly moved out to fill another hole, enabling Doug inherit his most significant role, to preside over our company and make it effective, shaping its future and changing perspective, adding a special kind of leadership to, communicating a message of together we can do. Selling off excess tonnage was not a popular decision. To balance the finances became Doug's priority mission. We adjusted objectives, a strenuous feat. Meanwhile, George Keller bought the entire Gulf fleet. Then came the lightning vessels, a dynamic presentation providing the refinery with less costly transportation. IHI replaced MHI as our new building partner. Construction moved on to Brazil. It seems we all got smarter. At quality and SBU with respectable performance, surviving in poor markets became Doug's special endurance. Yet somehow he managed to keep us all focused amid changing demands in this maritime corpus. He was able to instill a deep spirit of trust with determination for success. To do better is a must. So demanding indeed was an often heard cry. Prioritize the repairs, keep the safety standards high. When our results did not meet with Doug's satisfaction, reprimands were delivered to stimulate more action. Whatever the charge, wherever the place, Doug's wrath could be awesome. We all felt disgraced. However, the human side soon was restored. Like a fatherly figure, he was challenging us to do more. In search of new ways to correct our transgressions, Doug's leadership shone like a well-lighted beacon. His experience and knowledge was very well respected. Governments worldwide sought out and requested his presence, advice, approval, and assistance to determine direction and reduce the resistance, outlining a program for us all to embark amid over 90 chaos. We're still words apart. As the result of mismanagement by the ill-fated master, the Exxon Valdez created a new charter. Reduce risk of oil spill is the order of the day. Recovery equipment at every major bay. Restoring credibility, for us it's nothing new, and demonstrating proficiency is our specialty too. We could go on forever with accolades galore about our inspirational leader who gave us so much more. There is something quite compelling about this very active man, debating problems with his workforce, giving feedback whenever he can, to know what they are thinking and how they may respond to changes in the workplace which really must go on. Since charting our company's course, you've placed us the leader of the pack, a tribute to your enterprise and another record to track. Yes, Doug, we're going to miss you and all the things you do. Meanwhile, we'll keep this company strong and ahead of the others too. I'm proud to have been a member of this company you inspired and enjoyed the challenging relationship and somehow never got fired. With one last wish from my home soil to fill you with good cheer, all the best for your retirement, Doug, with a special Gaelic prayer. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, the rains fall soft upon your fields, and until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.
Doug, if you could come up, John, who's our hoping, yeah, I'll take care of it. You get that.
While Doug's on his way up here, I'd like to,
I thought you were going to say Doug's on his way out.
I'd like to thank our new president for setting a record. It was a
I'd like to share just a couple words. My first knowledge of Doug was a visit to his office about the end of 1984. First time I met him when I came into a position I think you held at one time, which was assistant fleet manager. To show you the difference in styles, the second time I met Doug was 5 months later. I came into his office and he said, "Powell, you're failing, you're going to have to leave, you got to go back to Pipeline." To show you the difference in style, I came back 4 years later, and I'd like to personally thank you for that. And when I came back, I assumed I was coming back to the same company. Not so. I think the company, sometime between the time I was gone, started to change. And I feel very fortunate that I've been here as part of that change process. And there's no question in my mind, I look at the time I arrived until today, the shipping company is not the same. Your leadership has drastically changed the management style, the employee style, and hopefully, imbued by a lot of people, I think the overall performance of the people that really count, and that's our 2,000 mariners at sea. There are a number of nice things that have been sent in from the vessels, and we just picked out one of them that we thought was kind of special that we'd like to share with you. And so let me let you open this. This is truly a team effort. This is from the Chevron Louisiana, and literally everybody in the crew participated in this. They wanted to find something that maybe matched your time, and so this is approximately, did I say 50, 60 years old? And it's very heavy. But everybody in the crew of the Louisiana had participated in this. They found this gift for you and then set about overhauling it. And it is it's a compass off of a lifeboat. And unlike the compasses on our vessels, it actually uses points rather than degrees. And they have completely overhauled it, and that includes the stewards and the utility folks and the chief engineer, Dale Russell, the master, Jay Dwyer, all worked on this, and there's a special note in here for you as well. And so, yeah, it's a very gorgeous antique. Yeah, yeah. It's tough for an engineer, especially one on a sub that never saw it. But more importantly, I'd like to build a little bit on what Captain Caldo had to say. I made a trip to Rome and Copenhagen about the same day that Doug announced his retirement, and so I had an opportunity to visit with about not quite 200 of our mariners, just as Doug had made his announcement of his retirement. And so, as you can imagine, one of the key conversations was, what's the shipping company going to be like without your leadership? And what has it been like with your leadership? And I know you look back with fondness on their pride, and I somehow feel that 1993's performance maybe had something to do with when you selected the time to retire. But I can absolutely assure you there are 2,000 mariners out there that were not only proud of 1993, but we're proud to be part of the shipping company under your leadership. And on their behalf, I'd like to extend good wishes to you and Nancy and your family. And that's a note from the Chevron Louisiana.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, George.
I had a bunch of sea stories to tell from the time I worked with him when he was vice president of operations. And so I can't tell you about some of the lunches that we had at St. Patrick's Day when Ken Beer was trying to get hold of him. You never heard about that one, did you? I don't know how you ever made president.
Marsh, I got a little story about that.
You heard about that one too?
Well, no, the first christening that Doug attended was the christening of the Cascade Durr as vice president. Shortly after that,
Oh, that's what I got one story. Only if you could bear with me on this, it illustrates Doug's style and very well. And it was when I was representing Chevron down in Australia in the early 80s on the Northwest Shelf Project, and Doug was the board member for one of the meetings, and the board was senior members of Shell and BP and other major oil companies as well as in the business of shipping. And he was down there, I think it was the first meeting he attended down there. I was living down there. The issue was a serious one because we're going to appoint the shipping consultant for the project, the Northwest Shelf project. And Doug got focused in on a detail in the shipping consultant's contract about paying for travel time. And Doug made a very big point, I'm not going to pay for the travel time, particularly when the consultant lives in London and this is a project in Australia. It's a lot of time. And it really got kind of tense and tight, and Doug was getting really into it by then. He was getting comfortable. If you've ever known him, he had his feet up on the edge of the table. You remember this, Doug?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was really warmed up, and my eyes were rolling. Oh,
He was
I have to
built
live
to
with these
defy
people.
gravity.
I have to live with these people every day. How am I gonna make it out of this one? How am I gonna survive? Or how is Chevron gonna survive out of that? Well, he broke the tension. He dropped his feet, put them to the ground, and says, okay, I'm willing to pay for the travel costs. But don't let me catch them sleeping on the plane. I'll tell you, it's only because he focuses in on detail sometimes. You wonder, why is he focusing on that detail? It's to make a larger point. There's a long way between London and Australia, and we're not going to put up with a lot of costs associated with that. You're not going to be down there every day or every week or every month on that project. So he picks details, and you really have to sort through what's the larger point. And he made it.
Very, very good observation.
The other thing that was supporting about this, and this is the one that helped me the most, is in my counterparts and working with them down there, I had a lot of respect. They knew who I had to report to back in home office. So my thanks, Doug. There is something here that I've been honored to present to you.
God. All this.
Hold that just a second. Let me read this. This is from the Chevron, Oregon. I won't read the whole thing, but I'll point out that the letter is in here, that they're pleased to present you with their first RNA of 1994. And it is a to run out with time, a limited edition print of the Chevron Oregon and some other appropriate attire from the Chevron Oregon.
Appropriate attire?
Yeah.
Do I
Say so.
Yeah, right. You know, I don't need my glasses. There's a genuine recycled gift box. Got the Chevron Oregon hat to be treasured. And look at this body. Look at that. That's a good. The Chevron Oregon. Yeah, isn't that nice? And I can use that for golf Monday. Thank you very much. Who's got a knife?
There you go.
Oh,
Chevron. Huh?
oh, Mark, you're not
Good engineer. Now I gotta do it. Find it. There it is. Okay.
Is his PMP? Well, that's nice. Look at that. It's a picture of the painting of the Chevron Oregon coming under the bridge with a map or chart in the background. That's very nice. Yeah.
It should be numbered.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
know we're taking long, but
I took the opportunity to notice that on the last one on the list here, I don't know if I'll actually be the last one, but it puts me in a position where the lovely things that I had planned to say, all of the nice words that I was going to make to Doug and his family, all of the appreciation that I was going to express. In fact, my seniors have taken it all and left nothing for me. Unfortunately, this is what happened with the salary program today as well. Don't hit me. This is 1%. On a more serious note, taking something that has been led off by others, using quality principles, quality purposes, quality ideas, the leadership you've provided us, the Manning Group, the U.S. Marine Personnel and Training Group, used a quality tool to decide on a gift for you, Doug. We used the fishbone diagram, which most unfortunately has resulted in there not being a gift for you from the Marine Personnel and Training Group. I do have, however, this lovely gift from our colleagues in Italy. And I hope that you can take that as a representation of the appreciation that the Worldwide Manning Organization expresses to you for your leadership over the years.
Just start off the door. I wonder if that's your bill. Yes, here are messages to Doug, but anyway. And this is from Variety. It's a nice book of Rome and all over. It says Colors of Our Time. Nancy and Doug, please have this book as a sign of our open invitation to Rome. Enjoy your life and your family, and signed by all the people in the Rome Manning office. Very nice. By the way, I truly thought, as long as Don brought it up, I truly thought, I said, Tom said he was handing out all the salary program today. I thought, oh my God, nobody is going to be there this afternoon.
Steve Swinburne.
I had nothing to do with this one. I know, I didn't either. Hey, John,
This is a true setup.
Doug?
See how quickly
How did that I had 3 minutes to prepare for this, and I was set up, but I didn't have time enough to think about it, because in operations planning, you learn to think on your feet, especially as long as I've been at it. But anyway. You've been in my office 3 times since I've known you. The first time was at 7:15 in the morning that you hit Tom Valdez. The second time was, I believe it was a Monday morning after the show in Nagasaki. And the third time wasn't quite as serious, but it was when we had Greenpeace chained to the rudder of the show. I welcome you to my office anytime in the future, but please, come as a guest. Thank you. John Kimball.
As you know, my last experience in front of Doug didn't turn out very well. I didn't realize I'd be here today, except our crew down in Rio set up a memento that I would like to present to him on behalf of them. This is a little memento. Now, I was a little surprised. I didn't know they were going to do this. And then I thought of it, and I said, well, why are they doing this? Now, I remember, every time Doug goes to Rio, he gives those folks a humongous party. So they'd be very appreciative. Anyway, Doug, little memento from Stu Young and the folks down at Leo, wish you the best.
Thank you very much. You know, thinking of pewter plate, and this fellow John Summers in Brazil, in Rio, makes the best pewter in the world. We've been collecting it since we've been down. Isn't that nice? Oh, that's great.
A little side story on this. It showed up here looking like a run-over hubcap. That's the way most things in Brazil do, and it probably causes more to straighten it out and fix it up than it
Cadillac insignia in the back.
Well, this is a time to have our celebrant. He likes to say a few words, and then we'll have a closing comment by Tom, and then the best of the best will be last, Cynthia Green.
Well, I'm not going to make a big speech, which you'll be glad of, but tonight has been very, very special for me and for Nancy and my children. I've heard a lot of things tonight, some true. Some I'm going to offer a second opinion. But in any case, it's been very delightful. I didn't know that we had so many poets in Chevron Shipping Company. And I was very moved and appreciate those poetic comments made tonight. And I'll remember them for a long time. I think Chevron Shipping Company is a wonderful organization. I've enjoyed it all these years I've been associated with it, since 1972. 10 years as president have been particularly delightful. I remember many good things. As I said at a retirement party given to me the other night by Ken Durr and Jim Sullivan, that of course there were some other aspects of the business I didn't care for after Exxon Valdez. But nevertheless, on the whole, it's been one of the most interesting and challenging situations I think anybody can really get themselves into. And I really have to thank, and really I'm up here tonight to really make my thanks, and I really have to thank the people of Chevron Shipping Company, the shoreside employees who have been dedicated and have come a long ways in making this company a heck of a lot better than it was. I've got to thank the seagoing employees, who we all owe a big thanks to, because they're the ones that really are on the front line and really are instrumental in maintaining the reputation of this shipping company. We owe so much to them. We owe everything to them. We owe our careers, our jobs, our success to those people on the ships. Thank you, Doc. As you know, I've said before to all of you, we're held in high esteem in this corporation. Ken Durr came over this afternoon to talk to me. And of course, we had a very nice retirement party a couple nights ago, hosted by him for a few people. But Ken and I closed the door and talked for a while. I know Ken pretty well. And Ken and Jim Sullivan are great supporters of this company. And all I can do, is say to you, thanks for everything, but don't ever, ever lose that support. It's extremely important. They really depend on us, and it's just really probably a burden that we have to have, and I think we should be proud that they really have such a high appreciation of our efforts. So anyway, thank you very much. We've had a lot of fun. I think besides all the serious things that we've done, we have had some humor. Perhaps maybe the humor has gotten a little bit difficult to have than it used to be. I think Dave and I used to joke a lot more than we have recently, but it used to be a lot of fun, and it's still a lot of fun. But The other thing I want to say, of course, is that, I want to publicly, in front of all of you, thank my wife Nancy for being such a great supporter to me personally. She's provided me with a lot of advice and counsel through my career with Chevron, and particularly when I'm president. And I want to recognize her. I certainly want to recognize my children, who have given both Nancy and me a great deal of pleasure and made our lives easier. I've never had to sit and worry while I'm working in the Chevron Shipping Company about my children. And they've been just great. I'm sorry that two of them aren't here tonight. Susie, who's in Puerto Rico. It's really sort of disgusting. And then my other child, who was Jim Walcott, who you saw helping me carve the turkey. And he's in Tengiz. And he phoned me last night and expressed all his best wishes, and I wish they were here tonight to share all this thing. But lastly, I also want to say that I think the people in Chevron Shipping Company are very, very fortunate in that they're getting a person in the name of Tom Moore as the next president of Chevron Shipping Company. Tom is a wonderful person, he's knowledgeable, and I think we all are very lucky that a man of that stature, credibility, is going to take over, and I wish him nothing but the greatest luck. You got to have a little luck in this business out there, as we all know. And I wish Tom nothing but the greatest of luck and best wishes for the future. And I do the same for all of you. And lastly, I've got to recognize and thank probably the person that's been the most supportive within Chevron Shipping over these 10 years, and that is my very, very fine friend, Rebecca Rose. So with that, I think I've said my thank yous. It's been a lot of fun. Diana Walsh and I still have to have a counseling session. And Diana and I have had a lot of fun in these christenings. You can see that it can be fun. No, it's not all fun. It looks like it's all fun, but it's a lot of work, and Diana's been absolutely terrific in organizing these whole things. But I can go on and on. I can go all the way around this room, probably individually, and say something individually about each one of you in your contributions. But then I'd probably still be here tomorrow morning, and I'm not going to get paid. So anyway, so thank you very, very much, and it's been a great pleasure here tonight to share this whole occasion with you. The presents and the mementos are outstanding. Nancy and I have to figure out where we're going to put them all, and we look forward to seeing you all in the future. It isn't really goodbye, but it's a temporary farewell until we cross paths again. Thank you very, very much.
And the kind of comments that we get back about the good feelings, the pride, the comments from people outside shipping, and it's all very wonderful. But the Chevron employee pride has a very, very particular strong meaning to me, because as I look at all of this cast of characters, I just feel very, very good. And the strength of that good feeling comes from Doug Walcott, who I say for 10 years has really, in business sense, added value to the enterprise and has really enhanced the quality of the fleet, the quality of the people, the policies, and quite frankly has left Chevron Shipping Company in, I think, very good hands, because it is truly well poised to take on the next generation of work. Doug, thank you very much. In the military parlance, the Coast Guard has these wonderful 21-gun salutes and holding down flags. At the management committee meeting on Tuesday, Ken made a few nice words to Doug, and just a couple days ago, and Doug commented, "Yeah, the whole fleet is off there 100 miles. I built in these protection defenses so that my tenure will go unmarred." And the Coast Guard has this big ceremony of bringing down the Admiral's flag when there's a change of command. And we don't have 5 stars on your flag, Doug, but we've got 300 or 400 signatures of people that have worked for you. And I'd like to present you with the flag Now, Dave, you can bring the ships in.
I think we've all seen this flag on the way in, you know, but it is a great memento. I saw all the names, and I'll tell you what, take it home, and I'm gonna have plenty of evenings where I can kick back and have a scotch on the rocks, and I'm gonna sit there, you know, I won't be tested. And I'll sit there, and I'll go through these, and I'll look at each and every one of these names. I'll remember a lot of pleasant memories, so thank you.
And now we have something very special from this occasion.
Turn it up, Edie.
Louder.
Thanks for the memories of trade club lunches and wine, kinder the line, the agony then in times when the whole pain wasn't so fine. How lovely it was. Thanks for reminding us of low tanker rates, middies crew through the gates, oil spills and Gulf War thrills, Saddam Hussein and potentates. How lovely it was. Many's the times we made money, and many's the times we were in the red. Oh, well, it was swell to come out ahead. We did have fun and no harm done, so thanks for the memories of lightering offshore, shipyards in Singapore. Accidents were a headache, but you prevailed evermore, and we thank you so much. We who could laugh over big things were parted by only a slight thing. Casual dress day was the right thing. No doubt it was, of course it was. So thanks for reminding us of MPAs and MSRCs, christenings that we didn't see. You traveled with a top deck, brought respect to the presidency, and we thank you so much. Straight up to you, love will all miss you, and how are all your retirement dreams that are about to all come true? Awfully glad we worked for you, cheerio and toodaloo. We thank you so much. And I know I've known you for 16 years. You watched me grow up from a bratty kid to a bratty adult. You've helped me out in my personal life. You've helped me out in all the years I've known you, and I'm not going to cry, but I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I want to take the time to thank Nancy and all the children for unselfishly sharing you with us all these years. And on behalf of all of the Chevron Shipping Company and the shipping industry and the whole wide world, we'll miss you and we love you, and thanks for the memories. I think what we're going to do, we typed the words out because as I was singing them, I realized that's the student spirit of all time. Okay. All right, but I want Okay, Edie, we're ready whenever you are.
Is that the band back there?
That's the band, that's my band. They come out here. Okay, here we go.
Of trade club lunches and wine, tender of the line. The Aggie lived in times when the whole thing was so fine. How lovely it was. Thanks for reminding us of those tender race. Maybe through the gates, oil spills and Gulf War thrills, Saddam Hussein and open days. How lovely it was. In the time we made money, and many the times we were in the red. Oh, well, it was swell to come out ahead. We did have fun and no harm done, so thanks for the memories of lightering offshore, shipyards in Singapore. Accidents were ahead, but you prevailed evermore, and we thank you so much. We who could laugh over big things were parted by only a slight thing. Casual dressing was the right thing. No doubt it was. Of course it was. God thanks for reminding us of MPS and MSRC, christenings that we didn't see. You traveled with a top deck, brought respect to the presidency. We thank you so much. Get a drama song. And strictly ingenue, Doug will all miss you. And how are all your retirement dreams that are about to all come true? Awfully glad we worked for you, cheerio and toodaloo. We thank you so much.
Well, I think that's it, John.
We had the place until 7, so.
No, I think that's, I think a lot of people have to go home. But it's been very nice, everybody been able to share this with us. This was absolutely the crowning achievement this evening. Lyrics by John Arizona. You know, John, I mean, we've got a lot of talent around here.
Reassign him tomorrow.
You know, Tom, you're going to have to harvest all this real good talent that we have and see if we can really make some money on it. Maybe we can publish songs, publish poems. You know, really, it might be pretty good. But anyway, you know, thank you again. I've said my thanks, and no use saying them over and over again. But it's been really great this evening. This has been a fantastic evening, one in which Nancy and I will remember for years to come. And, you know, best wishes for everybody. You know, we'll see you again. Tom really said to me that he might invite me to the Christmas party. That is if I don't phone him up, you know, and give him a bad time. Or anything like that. So anyway, we'll see everybody again in the future. This is not goodbye. It's just a temporary remission. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Bye-bye, Gary. We'll see you.